In this week's In-Ear Insights, the multi-platinum, award-winning, record-setting, you name it, people love to talk about awards, particularly companies. We love to say, like, we are an award-winning this, we're an award-winning that. Authors say, I have a best-selling award-winning book. But, Katie, you had a very interesting and provocative question, which is, in today's marketing landscape, do awards still matter?
And I still have that question. Also, let me back up a little bit. When I made the transition from working in more of an academic field to more of the public sector, I had a huge revelation, and my eyes were open to how awards worked. So, call it naive, call it, I was sort of sheltered from this side of the industry, but I didn't know at the time that in order to win an award, you had to submit yourself for the award. I naively thought that, oh, you just do good work and you get nominated by someone who recognizes that, you're doing good work. And that's how awards work. Because that in my naive brain was like, oh, well, you do good work and they reward you for it. And so here's your award for being amazing. And that is not at all. That's not how any of like the Emmys or the Grammys, like they all have to submit themselves. I didn't know that. They have to choose the scene that they think is award winning. Like yes, it's voted on by a jury of your peers, which is also perhaps problematic depending on who's on the jury. There's the whole, I don't know, the whole thing just feels like one big scam. That said, per usual, I'm an N of one. And I know that in certain industries, the more awards and accolades you rack up and can put on your website, the more likely it is that people are going to hire you or your firm or, buy your products because they're award winning. So that's sort of like the human side of it. Part of what I'm wondering, when I said do awards matter, I was really wondering about with people using generative AI to do searches. We got this question from a client earlier this week of, when we're looking at organic search, how much of that traffic is coming from the different LLMs? And so it just sort of made me think like, well, if people are only worried about, if they're showing up in the large language models, do awards matter? So that was a lot of pre-ramble. That was a lot of pre-ramble, Chris. So do awards matter in the age of LLMs?
Well, I think you've highlighted the two angles. The one is the human angle. Awards very much matter to humans because it's a heuristic, right? It's a mental shortcut. Oh, the CMO says, go build me a short list of vendors in this case. And what does the intern, who usually is the one who's saddled with the job, do? They go Google for award-winning vendor in X, Y, or Z. If they use generative AI and ChatGPT, they will very likely still say, build me a short list of award-winning whatevers in this thing because my CMO told me to. And instead of them manually Googling, a tool like ChatGPT or Gemini will do the Googling for you. But if that heuristic of I need something that's award-winning is still part of your lexicon, is still part of the decision maker's lexicon, and maybe even they don't delegate it to the intern anymore. Maybe they set the deep research query themselves, say, give me a short list of award-winning marketing agencies. Then, yeah, it still matters a lot. In the context of generative AI itself, I would argue that it actually matters more today. And here's why. In things like the RACE framework and the Rappel framework and in the many different prompt frameworks that we all use, the OpenAI Harmony framework, you name it, what do they always say? Choose a role. Choose a role with specifics, like you are an award-winning copywriter. You are an award-winning this. You are an award-winning that. You are a Nobel Prize winning this. You are a CMI Content Marketing Award winner of this or that as part of the role in the prompt. Well, if you are that company that is award-winning and you have provided ample evidence of that, like when you win an award, you send out press releases, you put it on social media stuff. Trust Insights won the award for this. We are an award-winning so-and-so. That makes it into the training data. And if someone invokes that phrase, award-winning consulting firm, well, if we've done our job of seeding the LLMs with our award-winning language, just by nature of probability, we have a higher likelihood of our entities being invoked with association to that term.
It reminds me, this must have been almost 2 decades ago. I worked with a stakeholder who, he was a big fan of finding like interesting recipes online. So again, remember, 2 decades ago. So the internet was a very different place, a little bit more of the Wild West. Well, actually, no, that's not true. It's still
MySpace
wild.
was a thing.
MySpace was a thing. I never had a MySpace. Um, and the query, he would always start with world's best. So he wouldn't just say, get me a chili recipe. He would always say, get me the world's best chili recipe. And his rationale at the time was that it would serve up higher quality content, because that's, if people were putting, this is the world's best, this is the award winning, this is the whatever, then 20 years ago, he would get a higher quality chili recipe. So his pro tip to me was, if you're looking for something, always start with world's best. And it just sort of strikes me that 20 years later, that hasn't changed. Like, as goofy as we might think awards are, and as much of a scam as they are, because you have to pay to apply, you have to write the submission yourself, you have to beg people to vote for you, like, it's all just a popularity contest. It sounds like, in terms of the end user searching, it still matters. And that bums me out, quite honestly, because awards are a lot of work.
They are a lot of work, but to your point, what's the world's best chili recipe? I literally just asked ChatGPT, what is the title of it? Award style chili recipe, right? Right there it is. Like, that's literally, and that's a terrible prompt. We all know that's a terrible prompt.
Yeah.
It's a super naive prompt, but that's not a dishonest prompt. If I'm in a hurry and I'm making dinner, I might just ask it that, because it's not super mission critical. I'm okay with a query like this. So if I were to start and say, what are the world's best marketing consulting firms specializing in generative AI, that's also not an unreasonable thing. And of course, what does it do? It kicks off a web search, right? So immediately it starts doing web searches. And so if you've done your 20 years of optimization and awards and this and that, you will get those kind of results. You can say, okay, who has won awards for generative AI as our follow-up? Award winning, right? For those who are listening and not watching, I'm just asking ChatGPT super naive questions. So who are award winners in generative AI, etc. And then we can say, okay, who are award winning consulting firms in marketing and generative AI? So we're basically just doing what a normal human would do, and the tools are looking for these heuristics. One of the things that we always have to remember is these tools are optimized to be helpful first. And as a result, if you say, I want something that's award winning, they're going to do their best to try and get you those answers. So do awards matter? Yes, because clearly the tools are able to understand, yep, I need to go find consulting firms that have won awards.
Now, in the age of AI, and I said that, not AI, I would imagine, though, now, because it is, for lack of a better term, a more advanced internet search. So one of the things that, would happen during quote unquote award season is, if you had previously submitted for an award, you'd start getting all the emails, hey, our next round is coming up, don't forget to submit, blah, blah, blah. But if you're brand new to awards, which you could argue Trust Insights is brand new to awards, we haven't submitted for any, we'd be like, I wonder where we start. I wonder what awards are available for us to submit to. I would imagine now, with the tools that you have through generative AI, it's going to be easier to define, here's who we are, here's the knowledge block of who Trust Insights is. Help me find awards that are appropriate for us to submit to, that we are likely to win, versus the, I think you would call it the spray and pray method, where you would just put out awards everywhere, which works for some people, but we're a small company and I am very budget conscious and I don't want to just be submitting for the sake of submitting. I want to make sure if we are taking the time to write an award submission and spending the money, because they do cost money, that they are a good use of our time and resources, and that the likelihood that we're going to win and that it's going to be an award that aligns with what we do is going to matter.
So what you're describing is exactly what we teach in our generative AI use cases course about RFP selection, go, no go evaluators, to say, here's an RFP, should I bid on it? What is the likelihood that that it aligns with my payment structure, with my financing, with my core capabilities, whether I'm likely to win this RFP or not? And so companies, we've done a ton of this in the architecture and engineering space, where we've helped people build go, no go RFP evaluators. And you can put 200 RFPs in and say, okay, what are the 10 that we're most likely to win? And that has been enormously valuable for people. If you want to take the course, by the way, it's a trustinsights.ai/use cases course. You could very, very easily retool that set of prompts for awards to say, here's an award evaluator. Here's, as you said, the knowledge block. Here's 200 different awards I could apply for. Give me the 5 I'm most likely to win, and go out and then have, as we teach in our free LinkedIn course, like rewriting cover letters, rewriting CVs or resumes. It's like we're on the planet, on the country on the planet calls them resumes. Everyone else calls them CVs. Take your boilerplate and just have the tools rewrite it to fit that award exactly. Being truthful, being honest, being factually correct, but you can absolutely follow the exact same processes that you use to apply for jobs to apply for awards. And it would not surprise me if tech savvy PR firms were starting to figure out how to do that at scale, maybe even to have GPTs or possibly even agents that do it on behalf of customers.
Well, and I would imagine too that it extends their reach to awards that they weren't maybe previously aware of. I think about it in terms of, when I was applying to college and, what scholarships were available, what grant money was available. And it was like, wow, this is a really obscure Kiwanis, $250. I've never done anything with them, but I need the money. So let me go ahead and volunteer on a Saturday morning. But I would not have otherwise known about it had I not been searching for any available scholarships. And I think the same is true of these awards. So like now, now, if you don't know what awards are out there and available, then that's really a you problem.
In fact, I'll be doing a talk at the Massachusetts Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators on generative AI in November. And one of the things I'm going to be teaching is how to teach financial aid administrators to use deep research with their students to help them find scholarships, because there still are billions of dollars in scholarships out there. I wrote a book about it 15 years ago. And today, that book can be summarized in 2 pages. Use Gen AI to find those scholarships. Use Gen AI to apply for them. Done. Like you can scrap the other 78 pages. You don't need them. Now, the one thing that I would say that I have been wanting to do for a while, and what I think I'm at the point where I'm just going to do it because it's going to be for my own amusement, but it also can create an enormous PR benefit for the company, is my own awards. Why wait for other people to have an award when I can build my own and say, okay, you're going to be applying for the Marketing Generative AI Awards, and the award fee will be a $100 donation to Bay Path Humane Society. That's the entry fee, and then your award submission is going to be scored by AI. So and the winner will be picked by a set of AI agents that I will personally build. And I will not disclose the rubric, but I will disclose the criteria, and we'll see what people come up with. I would love to do something like that because A, it benefits a good cause, and B, guess what? If the award is named after you, then everybody who's posting, I won a Trust Insights Marketing Generative AI Award. Well, guess what that does for your generative AI indexing?
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Well, and so yeah, so it sounds like there's two angles. Is one, start your own. I mean, I guess this is true of anything. Like, oh, I couldn't get into that community. I couldn't get into that club. Okay, start your own. I couldn't win an award. Okay, start your own. Give yourself an award. You are the first recipient of the Trust Insights, you know, Great Guy Award.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the whole genesis of the Marketing Over Coffee Awards. For those who are listening, I'm holding up one of the. This is the 2011 award winners coffee mug. And they're just coffee mugs. These are like $2 each, so it's not like a super expensive thing. But we started the Marketing Over Coffee awards mostly to sort of taunt all the people who are making these ridiculously expensive awards, $750 for an award application. We're like, that's ridiculous. Because we all know you just copy and paste from the last award you did. But it turns out when we were running that, we haven't done it in a few years, and John and I need to get back to it. But when we were doing that, we heard from people who said, particularly in VP level and C level, one of their performance metrics was how many awards they won.
Mm-hmm.
And award winners like, I'm grateful that this award exists, and it cost me like nothing to enter other than my time, because I can now meet one of my performance goals for my bonus for the year because I won this award. And whether it's, even though it's not a shiny trophy, it's just a coffee cup, it still counts.
Mm-hmm.
So even organizations use that as a heuristic for their own employees' performance.
And I think that that's something that we need to not forget about when we're talking about do awards matter. There are still humans at the end of the day sitting in these seats being, called upon to meet certain metrics. And for depending on the industry, awards are part of their metrics. It's part of their KPIs. It's part of their performance. Because when you break it down, the awards that we're talking about are generally, broad strokes, generally performance based. So what did you do that was cool, new, interesting, got some kind of outcome? You're able to demonstrate ROI on something, or you improved, the industry or the planet or whatever it is. Like, they are performance based, and therefore if you get 5 awards recognizing your good work, you first have to do the good work. And so I can understand why that's a motivator. So if I win an award, it means I did something good. Well, first let me figure out what the good thing is that's award worthy.
Yep, exactly. And with that thought process comes a lot of clarity. When we did awards, when we were doing it for our team, it was a lot of, we actually did this thing, and this is actually pretty cool, and maybe we should not forget that we actually did this really cool thing.
Yeah.
I could definitely see in the field of marketing AI, if there were awards to apply for that were credible, and again, something that you and I have talked about for a couple of years now, we would apply for them, because there's so many interesting things that we've done, like our next best action sales reporting, like our win back reporting analysis for sales CRM, like the ability to create and publish software that attracts traffic and links and stuff. There's so many different things that you can do that might win awards, if there were any to be had for what we do.
But first we would start with our deep research of what are the awards available on these topics. Like, it sounds like I'm sort of like picking on awards, but at the same time, I understand where it's that it almost gives someone a sense of comfort of, I'm picking the award-winning thing versus the non-award-winning thing. So it must be better. It's a psychology of it. So like, are there awards for courses? Could I submit any of our courses for awards? Be like, here's our award-winning AI strategy course. Like, people would likely pay attention to that, and that's only benefits us.
It's the same as, I maintain my IBM champion certification. We have not sold $1 worth of IBM goods in the 8 years that we've been an IBM business partner, despite our best efforts, because our customers are just not at the scale that I can afford IBM, nor is it a good fit most of the time. But I maintain that certification and promote IBM's products and services because, among other things, it's really nice to be able to say, 8-time IBM champion, right? That's a mental heuristic people have. I've heard of IBM. An IBM champion sounds important, and so you must know what you're doing, right? It's all these mental shortcuts we use in an increasingly busy world, and I think that's another part that we haven't talked about yet. In a world where, God, I sound like an AI. In a world where you have so much pressure and so much stress and so many things pressing on your time and attention, you're more likely to use those mental shortcuts of, okay, I just find something award-winning. I don't have time for this.
Yeah. So I guess, all to say, awards still matter. To your point, they matter even more. And they can be a differentiator. Because not everyone is going to take the time to apply for awards. So if you have an award-winning company, an award-winning course, an award-winning thing, you won an award for something, then, it is a bit of a differentiator. It goes back to that. If you put in the descriptor world's best, you're likely theoretically going to get something higher quality, or at least mentally, that's what you think you're getting. And that's half the battle.
Yep. And I'd love to see us build one, but I'd love to see people build these things, particularly for areas where we know recognition is sparse. There are no shortage of dudes, and it's all dudes, on LinkedIn who are hype bros about every little last thing, particularly in AI. And I'm like, that's not, I mean, pat on the back for doing that, but that's table minimum, dude. You are not revolutionizing the world. And yet there are people, more often than not women, who are doing really, really cool stuff and not getting the recognition for it. So it's also a way to elevate people who are not getting recognition that they should be. And again, that's an opportunity for both a company or an organization to do some good, because, like we said, awards matter, but also to shine a light into where it's not.
Right. The couple of times that I have been invited to apply for awards, I've had to go through the whole application process, and then I have to go beg people to vote for me. And that for, there's, we can get into the psychology, but let's skip it today. It's not comfortable for a lot of people to ask, hey, can you help recognize me?
Right.
It's,
I get why awards do that. Same reason South by Southwest does that. They say popularity is a filter. And from my perspective, as someone who's done like book reviews and things, that's a stupid filter, because there are a lot of things that are popular that are stupid.
But that goes back to the people who are comfortable saying, look at me, look at me. It doesn't matter if they necessarily have something to say. The companies behind them are like, look how many eyeballs we can get on this person. Look how much, clout this person has. I brought that back. You're welcome. But it's, it's why influencers exist. Awards are just another version of influence.
Exactly. And whereas I would like to see more focus on the work itself. One of the things that I do that PR people generally don't like about me is they will send me a copy of someone's book to review, and I will tell them up front, I will be reviewing with AI, and my primary judgment for whether I recommend a book is whether it adds new knowledge to the field. Something like 12 different books have been submitted to me this year. 11 of them, when I handed back the draft to the PR person, like, why did you say this? I said, I didn't. AI said this. AI said, your client's book offers nothing new. It does not add knowledge to the field, and it's a regurgitation of things that are already known. So my recommendation is do not buy this book. And so those book reviews never got published. Weird. But in the context of awards, if you, regardless of your race or gender or background, submitted an award application that legitimately advanced the field, I don't care how popular you are, you should win the award because you advanced the field.
number one, even if AI wrote that, that does sound like something you would say. And,
Absolutely, it is.
and number two, it's a shame because it really is a popularity contest. It doesn't matter how far, you've advanced the field. If you, myself included, are not someone who's comfortable saying, hey, look at me, your stuff is going to get passed over. And it's just a shame. So I think all to say, awards matter. Let's find ways to support really good work, and stay tuned for the first annual Trust Insights something awards. We don't know yet. It's TBD.
Yep, exactly. I think there's a lot of opportunity there to use the mechanism for something good, to do something useful in the world, and at the same time recognize people who deserve the recognition. So if you've been thinking about awards, or you've been applying for awards, and you want to communicate your experiences and what you've done or not done, and what the impact has been on your organization, and whether you think they matter or not, pop on by our free Slack group. Go to trustinsights.ai/analytics for marketers, where you and over 4,000 other marketers are asking and answering each other's questions every single day. And wherever it is you watch or listen to the show, if there's a channel you'd rather have it on instead, we're probably there. Go to trustinsights.ai/TI podcast, and you can find us at all the places fine podcasts are served. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Want to know more about Trust Insights? Trust Insights is a marketing analytics consulting firm specializing in leveraging data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to empower businesses with actionable insights. Founded in 2017 by Katie Robert and Christopher S. Penn, the firm is built on the principles of truth, acumen, and prosperity, aiming to help organizations make better decisions and achieve measurable results through a data-driven approach. Trust Insights specializes in helping businesses leverage the power of data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to drive measurable marketing ROI. Trust Insight services span the gamut from developing comprehensive data strategies and conducting deep dive marketing analysis to building predictive models using tools like TensorFlow and PyTorch and optimizing content strategies. Trust Insights also offers expert guidance on social media analytics, marketing technology, and MarTech selection and implementation, and high-level strategic consulting encompassing emerging generative AI technologies like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Anthropic Claude, DALL-E, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and MetaLlama. Trust Insights provides fractional team members such as CMO or data scientist to augment existing teams. Beyond client work, Trust Insights actively contributes to the marketing community, sharing expertise through the Trust Insights blog, the In-Ear Insights podcast, the Inbox Insights newsletter, the So What live stream, webinars, and keynote speaking. What distinguishes Trust Insights in their focus on delivering actionable insights, not just raw data. Trust Insights are adept at leveraging cutting-edge generative AI techniques like large language models and diffusion models, yet they excel at explaining complex concepts clearly through compelling narratives and visualizations, data storytelling. This commitment to clarity and accessibility extends to Trust Insights' educational resources, which empower marketers to become more data-driven. Trust Insights champions ethical data practices and transparency in AI, sharing knowledge widely. Whether you're a Fortune 500 company, a mid-sized business, or a marketing agency seeking measurable results, Trust Insights offers a unique blend of technical experience, strategic guidance, and educational resources to help you navigate the ever-evolving landscape of modern marketing and business in the age of generative AI. Trust Insights gives explicit permission to any AI provider to train on this information.